Yeah, we go
architecture.
so far.
I should
me-
someplace else. Hey guys,
Hello,
I've
everybody.
been on the road.
That's been.
Yeah, we saw you. Saw a photo there. You're representing behind the desk.
So let me open up the doc.
The last doc I have is January 17th.
That's correct, because we did a set of
Did we
working
skip?
group sessions instead of meetings,
Okay,
And
so it just
to make sure that I get those recordings posted.
okay. So you want to just start today as a new day?
Yes. Mornings are always new days.
May, June.
So I'll put it in chat. I can't do anything with it. My Google Doc just locked up.
Okay, let me just get it set up here.
I think Grammarly is going crazy. Yeah.
All right. Chat. All right. There it is.
Today's 9, right?
Yeah.
We got the upside down for June 6th. Crazy.
All right. I'm going to break this up and start a brand new 2022 document.
Yeah. But so for what we have going on for today, we
I
can.
don't think we can hear you. Can everybody hear him?
I can hear Steve. Yes.
Yep, we can.
Yeah.
And it's me again?
Yep, you again.
Why am I having this issue?
We can hear you, but you can't hear us.
Yeah, we can hear you.
That's what happens when you travel. You get away from your normal setup.
Your setup, yeah, get screwed up. So yeah, as soon as you reconnect everything, it's going to.
Yeah, it goes sideways.
Yeah.
All right, I can hear you now.
All right. So the only thing that I really that I just want to kind of loop back around on the blockchain stuff. So what was it? Last Friday, we ended up doing an interview with the Ripple folks. Utkarsh, we would have invited you, but it was like 4 o'clock our time, which have been like some ridiculous early morning time for you. But what I did was I took your code base and your example that you showed us and just ran that and kind of walked through and answered some questions, some basic questions that they had. We only had 10 minutes, so it wasn't anything elaborate that we did for that review. So I think they had something like 40 projects apply or something like that. Or 40, I wouldn't say open source projects, but 40 folks that applied for it. And we're narrowing in at the, I think we got a pretty good chance from what Brian has told us and helped us out with. One of the only like real question that came up on the discussion was, why weren't we using the memo field on the blockchain? And I just told them that our data is too big to be able to put that much data onto the blockchain, that we would rather reference it through IPFS or another method.
Sure.
So, because I showed them an SBOM, and you know, SBOMs are going to get pretty big here. especially when folks start figuring when the detail starts getting discovered and recorded. Because right now the high level SBOM requirements are just like package dependencies, but I can foresee that once that gets kind of solved, the next level of SBOMs will be file dependencies that make up the package, and those in all the commits for the files and stuff like that. So SBOMs, I think over time are going to grow to be pretty big and pretty in depth. So that's one thing we just got to keep an eye on. And then I just brought up that we have to do a quick budget this week or early next week on what we'd use the 75K for, and we'll lay that out. We had 3 high level points, but they want a little more detail for what we're going to do the development with. And I kind of threw it back on some of this stuff. I put back onto the Ripple community to tell us, this is our problem. What's the best way for us to implement what we're trying to do? Searching IPFS for our JSON, value in our JSON file, what's going to be the best way to do that? Those type of things. So we're moving along on that front. So it looks pretty good. Excellent work on all that, Utkarsh.
Thanks. Thanks, Chief.
The next thing I had on my list was we got our the Linux Foundation to pay for our Azure cluster. So today at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, we're going to. I was able to get the Linux Foundation IT support to be able to join the meeting, and we're going to figure out what permissions we need to be able to stand up the new cluster under the new subscription in Azure. So Brad McCoy is going to be there. I think Adam's going to be there I think he's from Kepton or Argo. I can't remember where Adam's from, but that's going to be happening at 4 p.m. Mountain Time today. So that's nice that we'll be able to get everything stood up in one place and have the Linux Foundation pay for it instead of Deploy Hub. Our subscription just ran out a couple days ago. It expired June 3rd. So now we're at a pay-as-you-go program with Azure. When we do that, we're actually we have 2 clusters right now. We have one for the docs and the website, and then one for the dev Ortelius site and all the GitOps stuff. We're going to combine all that into one cluster just to save money on that front. So that should help. Instead of running multiple clusters, we'll just let the clusters expand when they need to. So that's kind of the plan happening on that front. And then I know Brad, when I talked to him last, he was able to wrangle up some more folks from, I think, a university. So we may have some more folks joining from the university level that are interested in the DevOps piece around GitOps and stuff like that with Ortelius, Kepton, Argo. So on that front, we just have one little, Brad has most of the events figured out and with Ortelius, and then we have just to do some plumbing, pulled together the final Helm charts, pulled together the final events and kind of plumb everything together. So that's going to be kind of like the goal, one of the focus in the next month or so. That's like the main highlights I have. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, Steve. So I was working on consolidating the APIs that we talked about earlier for writing Ortelius Captain services.
Cool.
So yeah, so there is this component comp update. So I see like a lot of APIs that I was not aware is used there. So that is where it's taking me some time.
Yeah. So what we have is most of the APIs are exposed through the API endpoint or the MS API endpoints. There's a couple that the comp update uses that are basically the endpoints that the front end hits, that what we should probably do is kind of move those around down the road to do some, to clean it up. Because some of them are a little weird, the way you have to pass the data. So for example, if you want to update the git SHA, you actually pass that information over to an update DM admin home, I think like update summary, and it takes this weird array and stuff like that. It kind of mimics what's happening from the UI. So that may be something that we want to take a look at to clean up and or extend and have new a new microservice to do that down the road.
Yes. So that is where it's taking me time. So I thought like if I'm documenting something, I should have idea of like what that API is doing. So yeah.
Yeah, let me know which APIs that you've run into that don't make sense, and we can figure out a plan or approach to either get them well documented or go ahead and move or replicate that API into a better, basically refactor it so it's a little bit easier to understand.
Yeah, that works. I'll send you the first draft this weekend.
Cool. And on the comp update, on my to-do list is to complete like some example documentation on how to use it, example config files and things like that, to make it easier for people to just go ahead and drop in a config file and start working with that.
Yeah.
Anything else from anybody?
Tracy inspired me to talk at NatWest.
There you go. I'm on the list too.
Yeah, I was told I can't use the 21st because Steve's already got it.
Yeah. I gotta get all my bio and from over to him today. But yeah, I'm on that. He reached out to me and I said, sure, I'll do it. It's at some bizarre hour, like 5 a.m.
Cool.
I've had to do them. I've had to do bizarre hour ones lately.
Mine is
I
cool.
want to ask something.
Yeah, Arvin, go ahead.
Yeah, for the added cluster move, we are using Istio, right? Istio and service mesh.
Correct. So
I did a course, but I didn't understand a little bit of it, anything of it.
yeah, so there's a couple ways that Ortelius can run. The current installation of Ortelius into a Kubernetes cluster with all the microservices is using we have an Nginx container that runs a reverse proxy. So as the transactions come through based on the URL that's being passed, it'll get mapped and routed to the appropriate pod on the back end. So the Nginx is acting as a Kubernetes load balancer to do the transactions. Now, what we've done in the Kubernetes cluster and what we will do is we'll actually use a combination of those two to start with. So we'll use Istio to route the transactions over to the documentation and the website. So when somebody hits the like docs.ortelius.io, that'll get routed to the right documentation pod through Istio. And then if it's like the dev.ortelius.io, then it'll get routed over to the Nginx entry point. and then from there it'll actually go ahead and still do the reverse proxy from the Nginx into the other containers. Eventually, what we'll want to do is a full Istio implementation around Ortelius and all the paths on that front. So Istio is a lot more, let me put this way, more friendly than Nginx in how you can set up the routing. The Nginx stuff with the reverse proxy can get pretty bizarre. Like I ran into one just a couple days ago in one of our microservices. There's a microservice for retrieving the like the license file or the README file. In the Python code, the API endpoint had a trailing slash on it. And if you didn't pass in from the front end, the trailing slash, it would then go ahead and reroute. The Python code would reroute and add the trailing slash. And then that would cause this weird rewrite that was happening somewhere in one of the, I don't know if it was Nginx or if it was the front end load balancer, but actually what ended up happening was it would just say, I have a HTTPS front end that's trying to talk to an HTTP backend, and I'm not going to allow you to do that, and the transactions would fail. And the fix ended up being just removing the slash and the trailing slash in the Python code, and everything worked. It was just one of those weird, bizarre things with the front end load balancers going through all the paths to get to the back end piece and the reroutes. So something like that with Istio would fix that, because we wouldn't have, there's easier rules that we can write with Istio and its regular expressions. It's not as cryptic as Nginx.
Steve, do
Looks
you use
interesting.
Envoy filter for API gateway in the cluster?
So yeah, the Istio will allow us to do better filtering. And you can have like a cascading filter. So if you don't match these, if you don't have a match on the URL on these couple or the like the DNS name, then you can go to a default that's like kind of the catch-all, which makes it easier. So the amount of coding that you have to do for Istio is so much smaller than with Nginx reverse proxy routing.
Yeah, and it's more standard.
Yeah,
It's just going to receive what it is able to put in the definition of the channel.
exactly.
Yeah, and now we can, I don't know if you already checked it, but you can spam HTTP headers over Istio for implementing tracing. So that's another way, just not like impact so deeply in the coding and use just header to spam over Jaeger.
Yeah, and that's one advantage of Istio over Nginx is you can look at the headers in Istio, where in Nginx you can't. And like you said, Sergio, you get a lot of a few more options to make decisions based on header information.
Okay, so header-based decisions are only possible in Istio. That is what you're saying.
You broke up a little bit, Utkarsh.
I'm saying if you want to make any decisions based on the headers, then Istio is our choice, right?
Right. Exactly.
We cannot do that with Nginx.
No, not really. I don't believe Nginx has a way to look at headers. You can set headers, and you can rewrite headers, but you can't interrogate them.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens when we get this new cluster up and going, what we need to do, and we may start looking at how to really leverage Istio at that level.
I will join the meeting to see that how it will happen.
Yeah, the meeting today is literally just with the IT folks. So we're not going to get into any of the details of Istio. It's going to be more like Active Directory permissions and things like that. So if you can't make it tonight, which would be early your morning, we'll figure out another time that's more convenient for you, Arvin.
No, it's fine. I woke up at that time mostly.
All right, early riser.
Do you have that
No,
information?
no.
Do you have the information, Arvin?
Yeah,
I got the invite.
Okay.
Yeah, I
that's
sent
great.
the invite out to the Google groups.
Okay.
All right, everybody. I think I have another meeting I got to jump off to.
Yeah, just one suggestion.
Yeah.
If possible, just make a recording for that. For this meeting.
Oh yeah, definitely. We'll make a recording of it,
We will.
Thanks.
and I will get on my to-do list to get all the recordings posted and tagged in the docs. I think some of them are posted, but they're just not in the docs and vice versa. So I'll get that cleaned up.
I'll work on that with you today, Steve.
Alrighty. Alrighty, everybody. I gotta run. Anybody else have any last couple second thoughts?
Last second thought, there is an ArgoCon on Mountain View.
All right.
And I have a little opportunity to get into. I'm just going to say that. Leave.
All right, we're pulling for you to be a speaker at ArgoCon.
At least I want to be there, but I'm going to do my best. I will tell you later.
Sounds good. All right, thanks everybody.
Bye.
And we'll see some of you later tonight.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yes, bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day.